He said there ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free. I know I can't slow down, I can't hold back, though you know I wish I could. Oh no, there ain't no rest for the wicked until we close our eyes for good.
Hey everybody, back again, and today we are doing a follow-up review on these Lewano arrows. These are the cheapest arrows I could find on Amazon when I purchased them. They were $30 before shipping, if I remember correctly. It's been about 3 months since I first showed you guys these arrows and I first shot these on camera, and I've had a little bit of practice since then with these, and I've shot these quite a lot. I have had quite a bit of arrow-on-arrow contact on the target when they're clustered up on my target, and I'll show you guys what that's done to the arrows. Here I've just pulled 4 of these arrows out to kind of show you how these have worked. From arrow-on-arrow contact, I have had, get the camera to focus, I have had some strike other arrows and tear off just the paint. It doesn't seem like it's damaging the actual fiberglass or carbon part of the arrow itself, so that's pretty nice. They are standing up to lots and lots of shooting and lots of arrows striking, you know, glancing each other as they go into the target. This is the worst one I have so far, where all the paint's gone down to the carbon right there, but it doesn't seem to have affected the arrow at all. It still fires just fine. It doesn't have a weak spot right there. It doesn't crack or anything when I bend it around. So it seems like they're pretty durable for the price tag. I mean, for $30 arrows, they're holding up well. The nocks on these are all holding up well. The plastic little grippy bits that hold on to the string in there haven't seemed to have worn down at all. They still fit my string nice and tight, and they still release well. They actually release a little smoother now that I've shot them, but it doesn't seem that they're wearing down at all. And they do seem pretty good. I have accidentally whacked the nocks with some of the other arrows, and as you can see, it just got a scratch on the side there and didn't actually damage the arrow itself. The fletching is holding up well on these also. This is the only one that actually has any discoloration to it. I'm surprised by this because I've been shooting these a lot. And with all the arrow striking arrows, I guess this is the only one that actually had another arrow rub up against the fletching. And it doesn't feel like it cut into it. It doesn't feel like it ripped it up or weakened it. It just marked it with the paint that was on the arrow. So yeah, the fletching hasn't been coming unglued. Even though I've been firing these out of a recurve bow with that leather on it, it doesn't seem to have affected my fletching at all. Hasn't been digging into my bow because I have that leather patch on there. And yeah, I mean, for $30, these arrows are still doing good. The tips haven't loosened up at all. I haven't had to re-glue them or retighten them. They have blunted pretty significantly on just foam targets. So if you're going to be using these for game of any kind, or anything other than just shooting soft targets for practice, I would recommend replacing the head. So we're back with the 30-pound, and we're going to be shooting downrange, same 20-yard distance with the same 30-pound bow. My 40-pound is ready to shoot, and I have been shooting it. Just for the sake of the video, I wanted to be consistent with the other video. Thank you to all the guys who commented on the last archery video concerning these arrows. You guys taught me a lot of stuff that I didn't know, so I really appreciate all the knowledge. Feel free to drop comments on anything that you see me doing wrong in terms of shooting, or anything that I can improve on as an archer. I'm primarily a bladesmith, so archery is kind of a secondary thing for me. So this will be our first volley of the day. So my accuracy might be a little off. So first volley of the day, not so great of a grouping. Started off shooting way too high into the left there, over adjusted, and then I was able to bring it back to the center. Now let's get you guys a incoming angle so you can see the arrows coming in and striking the target. That way you guys can take a look at the impact on these arrows. They do wiggle a lot when they strike my target, but this is some very hard, dense foam. So as soon as they come to a stop, all that leftover energy is still in that arrow. This was much better than our initial grouping today. These three are pretty close to each other. These are all pretty straight next to each other. We did have a couple of them impact each other, and from what I can tell, they're still perfectly fine. I've decided we're gonna actually do a pretty harsh durability test on these. This is about 1/4 inch thick particle board with some oak backing that's 1 inch thick. And we're gonna shoot the crap out of this with some of these arrows just to see, you know, if these can stand up to a little bit harsher punishment than just a soft foam target if you're shooting at something like a boss with wood behind it or something like that. So I haven't done this before with these arrows, so this will be new to me just like it's new to you guys. I'm gonna back up to the same distance I was at. I'm gonna go ahead and put a duct tape mark on our top and bottom, so that way we have 2 areas to aim at, so we can hopefully avoid hitting these bigger chunks of harder wood, just to see how this does against this particle board. So we're just gonna put a piece of tape about the center of each of these boxes. It looks like all the ones that just hit the particle board went clean through. And let's take a look at how they all did. They definitely got a bit of the paint scraped off where they went through the wood, but that's to be expected. And the tips aren't any more blunt than they were before, as far as I can tell. My last 2 shots, I decided to go for that lower section just because it was getting a little crowded up top. So these 2, interestingly enough, hit the hardwood. Now I'm interested to see how these heads look, because you can see some of that silver sticking out on those 2 arrowheads there. So they definitely didn't go past that wood. And they are in there good. Surprisingly, those tips held up pretty well. They didn't, that one did at least. Doesn't seem to have blunted any worse than it already was, at least. Yeah, these don't seem to have blunted any worse than they already are. So let's throw a couple more volleys at it. See how these hold up to a little bit of abuse. And for these shots, I'm actually gonna get it a bit closer to the target here, just so you guys can get a nice clear shot of when these hit. So on this top grouping, I was way off. So let's take these out and take a look at them. And what I was doing this time is I was switching back and forth in between shots. So these were the 6 I fired at this lower target, and the 6 I fired up here were nowhere near as well grouped for whatever reason. I actually managed to get 3 on this 4-inch piece of tape. But the arrows seem to be holding up well. None of them seem to be broken. And they're actually carrying quite a bit of inertia with them. I'm surprised out of a 30-pound bow that after going through a 1/4 inch of particle board, they're still going a good 6 to 8 inches through that and into the foam behind it. So even though it's just a 30-pound bow, don't underestimate the power of a bow. So now that I know that they will survive and that they're gonna punch that far through, I'm actually gonna do a little experiment here. I wanna see if it has enough penetrating force to punch through this water bottle and go into the foam behind it. Because a liquid medium target is gonna act more like an animal. It's gonna act more realistic to if you were to shoot an animal. So since I do plan on using a 30-pound bow and using these arrows with different heads to hunt for small game, I wanna see how it performs against this 1/4-inch particle board to simulate a thicker hide or a harder skin on an animal, and then a wet medium and the foam on the other side, just to see what kind of penetration I can expect on this type of target. I know this is a pretty primitive setup, but you work with what you have. We've got our piece of tape in the same spot, which is literally sitting right in front of the center of that bottle. So if I can manage to hit that tape somewhere, or just below it or above it, I should be able to peg that water bottle. So I fired those off pretty rapidly, and it looks like I just managed to miss it in just about every conceivable way. I got arrows on all sides of it, but no direct hits just yet. So we'll pull these out and keep shooting. Looks like we got it. Oh, we got it a couple times. So let's take these arrows out of here that aren't hits, so we can take a look at what happened. So it looks like we had 2 direct hits, and we actually had one knock the wood off this fiberboard here. Looks like this hardwood, oh wow, that is in there good. Looks like this hardwood stops these arrows pretty dead right about where it starts to fatten up on that arrowhead, which is where it's going to start bounding up a lot of force transfer. And it looks like it was nailed and glued into this particle board, and it managed to bust that out on the other side of the particle board. So there's still a good bit of force there, but I think that the bottle tells you the most. It blew straight through underneath the cap, punched out through the threads, and managed to get 1.5 inches past that. And then down here, where there was still water at the time, it punched through and then the arrowhead stuck out. So it'll actually give you pretty decent penetration for hunting small game. I wouldn't use a 30-pound on any kind of game larger than probably a raccoon or something like that. Turkey, or for pest control of raccoons, this should do just fine. It'll go in far enough. It'll obviously impact hard enough to break smaller bones in the animal. And as you can see, it punched a hard hole through there and shattered that plastic. And then it punched right out through the cap there. So that's pretty wild. So now let's try that same thing with the 2-liter. Should be a little easier to hit since it's a much larger target. I just want to see if that water slows these arrows down more, or if they're still going to punch through that target and hit the foam behind it. Let's see what the damage is, shall we? Oh yeah. So let's remove our misses. So that's pretty funny. It looks like we missed 6 and we hit 6. And all of them went through the entire 2-liter and out the other side of the 2-liter at least 1 inch. This one up here where it didn't contact as much water, you can see the difference. But yeah, that tells me everything I need to know. For small game, this will be plenty powerful of a little bow to take down turkeys and things like that. All in all, I would say for 30 bucks, I'm still pleased with these arrows. Like I said, I've been shooting them for about 3 or 4 months total, about 100 shots a week or so. I'm surprised with how these perform. I thought they would be breaking by now. They survived hitting particle board, hardwood. They can penetrate through. They still do good damage. They do have, you know, Not the strongest field points, but I wouldn't expect them to have very solid points for that price. The fletching's holding up great, even though it's been running across this leather on my bow a lot, and this isn't the smoothest leather. It's kind of a harder, thicker leather. I hope you guys get out, do some shooting. Maybe if you have a shop, get out and do some hammering. And if you're looking for a custom knife, check out the Etsy store. I sell all kinds of knives, swords, pole arms, and all other sorts of fun jazz. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, God bless. Stay sharp out there.